All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the August Facilities Committee meeting. The first official committee meeting of the 2024-2025 school year. And we'll start first with a roll call.
Present.
Dan Schultz, present.
Charles Burdell-Williams, present.
Zachary Epps, present.
Leah Mulhern, present.
Mia Blitzstein, present.
Awesome, thank you for that. We do have a quorum. Next agenda item is approval of minutes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the June Facilities Committee? So moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstentions? Right, minutes are approved. Mr. Holman, passing it over to you for our agenda item, which has a presentation with a significant number of.
Welcome to the first facilities meeting of the new school year. Let's get underway. First slide, please. The Elkins Park Modular's is now home of the Epic Center. These modular buildings have been in the district for years and have been utilized as a storage place for unwanted furniture and a piano. We recycled about 13 tons of metal and discarded close to 240 yards of debris while repurposing 400 student desks for the high school. This is no small feat. This project required all hands on deck to ensure that we could have it ready for this upcoming school year. Next slide, please. The hallways and classrooms, offices are all freshly painted, as well as the bathrooms, and they're ADA compliant. Next slide, please. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's the bathrooms and the ADA compliance. Next slide, please. The kitchen equipment has been delivered. The last piece of the equipment is the ice machine, which is on the loading dock at this building here. Will be installed shortly. Next slide, please. Here we have stormwater management basins. They need to be regularly inspected and maintained. We have them at Cedarbrook, Glenside, Winco, Cheltenham Elementary, and Myers. Stormwater basins help with the district's overall sustainability efforts. Also, upon recent inspection, some deficiencies were found that we corrected in the house and have submitted the completed report to the township. Fun fact, I have a what is stormwater management? You ask. What is stormwater management, you ask? Land development activities can alter the natural hydrologic cycle and movement of water off the land. Development removes natural vegetation and introduces impervious surfaces such as roads, shops, driveways, and parking areas. Precipitation falling on these impervious areas can no longer soak into the ground, resulting in an increase in stormwater runoff. Vegetation no longer slows down the rate of flow. Because of this, developed areas generate a greater amount of stormwater, and this runoff reaches rivers and lakes in a shorter amount of time. This runoff picks up sediment and other pollutants in its flow path and carries these pollutants to the receiving water bodies. The increased runoff can also result in erosion of the land surface, conveying the resultant sediment load to receiving waters as well. So that's what stormwater management is. Next slide, please. Elkins Park boiler repairs. Heating season is around the corner, and we're doing everything possible to prevent boiler breakdown. Next slide, please. The high school parking lot that has been seal coated and painted. This was a safety and security initiative. We utilized Cheltenham Seal Coat. They did a phenomenal job. This was done by a Cheltenham resident and also a minority-owned business. Next slide, please. This is a football field at the high school. This And this is an unfortunate event as far as timing for the football field. As you all know, we are partnered with KCBA architecture firm. They have a subcontractor that they utilize. They in turn use another subcontractor. There is a need to finalize the ground testing for the township for the new stadium stormwater management system. We would have liked for the testing to be completed during the off season, absolutely. However, to give the district the ability to start the next football season on turf, this had to happen. That concludes the presentation.
We'll just give updates in terms of what happened and what we've done to rectify the condition that the field was left.
Thank you, Dr. Swift. So far we installed sod, and we will have it rolled out to even off the field. The entire field will be rolled. As early as today, sod didn't take it. It's being honest and transparent. So it was replaced today, and currently being ordered now.
Sod in the center of the field did take though.
Yes, I'm sorry, the side of the city field did take it, yes.
And
So-
both end zones, the sod did not take.
No, one is, but I'm sorry.
Or the one is.
Yeah, one is, I apologize.
Just want to be as transparent as I can.
The side in the middle, and one is on did take.
Yes,
Can I say the side that did not take is the one closest to the concession stand?
no,
Yes,
It's not,
that's
Was the other one?
the one over by the scoreboard.
Yes. And it's been replaced also. Today. It's all hands on deck.
Thank you for the presentation. Any questions from the board?
Appreciate the strong start to another term here in terms of the updates that were. Just in an anecdote, I was able to meet one of the owners of the Cheltenham Steel and Coating, and the amount of pride that they had that they were able to contribute to their own community, the high school, right, the flagship school in the district. So it was really encouraging to know that just hearing the amount of pride that they had, being able to contribute back. I also appreciate the work you've done.
Anything we ask them, they do, so.
And then the Epic Center, and if I'm jumping ahead too far, jumping ahead. But obviously we have a finance meeting a little later where we're talking about some options with EP. And so is there currently planning done or thoughts being put to like what happened or what will happen with the completion of this? As we kind of make some other decisions.
Not for immediate,
Oh, yeah.
but as we unpack, it's would probably behoove us to do a tour, to let you guys do a tour.
Okay.
We did get the 10-year extension on occupancy,
Oh, wow.
and we're not in a box in terms of how that has to be used. So, right now, looking at focusing on overage, undercredited students and those with significant social, emotional, for instance, anxiety and things from that standpoint, so that we can meet those needs in a smaller instructional setting. Also looking at our Office of Innovation, setting up a lot of makerspace rooms over there for professional development, and also the rotation of students to be able to go through as well, to be exposed to some 21st century innovation. So, and then we have our alumni associations over there spaces as well. So we will be able to pivot as needed, but facilities have really done a great job.
If I hear you correctly, they're sort of separated, like the shutdown. As we consider what that looks like, the modulars can sort of stay where they are.
Oh, yeah,
continue to operate, and we can separately decide.
Separate, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good. It's not like they'll be put in this state of transition
More questions? See Ms. Blitzstein online.
Thank you. First of all, thank you, Mr. Holman, for your presentation. If you could just tell me the name of that seal coating company that did the parking lot, that would be greatly appreciated.
Cheltenham,
Yeah,
Cheltenham Seal Coating.
that's easy. Okay. Sorry, just couldn't hear it through the computer. And the other thing is maybe you could just explain a little bit more clearly what those pictures on the football field are showing.
Sure.
As someone who knows very little about football or the field itself.
So the first picture is that of the homes that's facing the home side, home bleachers. And that's, I mean, you can't even tell in that picture, but that's the new side that's, yeah. The one in the middle is midfield, and the one on the right is, the far end zone.
Got it. So that one on the end is where the sod did not take. Correct?
No, well, these pictures are old, so I didn't have a chance to update them yet. So, just being transparent, but everything else is accurate. The side did not take, it was replaced today. So, you know, I don't have any updated pictures, but, it's, you know, very transparent. So.
Okay, good. Thank you.
It looks like there may, just wondering if looks like there was a lot of other work done at Cheltenham High School over the summer. Sump pump repair, I'm just reading from the agenda on,
Yes.
board docs.
Yes.
Sump pump repair, LED fixture installation,
LED fixture delivery.
delivery,
Yes,
okay,
correct. So, it will be replaced in the house,
okay.
which is a significant savings in the district.
Oh, and lobby floor resurfacing?
Yeah, yeah. I was going to, I know I included it in this one, but it just makes sense to highlight it when it actually is finished.
Okay.
You know, sorry, maybe miscommunication, misunderstanding, but, so it just makes sense to just to move when it's finally completed. That will be completed August 9th. Started August 19th and completed August 26th. So you will see it in September's meeting.
Thank you.
You have more questions?
13 tons?
13.
I thought I misheard you. Well, yeah, but you said 13
13
tons of
tons.
recycling.
Yeah.
That's,
And that went to a scrapyard, and like I said, 240 yards of debris. And we'll repurpose 400 student best size.
Yeah.
No, 240. 200, yeah.
Right, see no more board questions, gonna go to the community, I don't think we have anybody outside of this. Community question.
Okay. Hello, Karen. I never got an open park. Where to start? This is my third year, because my son has been at this high school addressing a field issue. As a freshman, we had divots on the main field that caused injury. As a sophomore, the practice field was supposed to have been leveled out, yet rocks were used on the practice field. They could not use that. Now, as a junior, we're going into the season with side that has not taken, and I honestly don't think the side will take in time for our games to start. Side takes time. I've had to do it in my yard before. It takes time. And that's just with looking at it. It's not with 100 kids running with cleats on it. So there's a lot of parents, including myself, that are very, very concerned. Is this going to be safe for them to play on when the season starts? And if it is not, what is the contingency plan? If we are too close to the start of our first game, if we have to forfeit a home game, that's going to hurt our fundraising, funds for our concession stand. It's going to hurt the school for money that they get at the gates. And there's a lot of questions and very upset parents about this. And there's mainly safety issues. We do not believe that this side is going to take what's done with cleats on this. It's nice to look at when you're just walking across the road. When you have 50 kids running back and forth on cleats, what is that going to look like? And for this to be the third year that we've been here and we are still talking about the same field, it is beyond frustrating at this point. I understand we have, the architecture company and they subcontract and they sub for somebody to check some balances. So somebody, if they were going to hire someone to come out and do this, I wish you would have shown pictures of what that looked like when they dug it up. It looked atrocious. It looked horrible. And most of the football parents had to see that and were concerned. And if you hire a contractor to do work on your home, you're going to know when they're going to show up. It's just, it's just like to not know that someone was going to be there. If they could have tested the practice field or another part of the field that did not touch the home field. We've heard it several times. The schools that come to visit us do not like coming to our field or to our facility. We've heard the refs openly complain about it. And so now we have to start with this. And it's not just the football team, the soccer team with cleats is also on that field. So I would like to know, other parents would like to know, if this does not take, what is the plan?
So I'm working on options now. Don't have an update for you at this point in time. So we did know that they were coming, so let me clarify. We did not know the scope of the work. Normally when that test is done that the civil engineers did, it's not to that magnitude. Nowhere close to that magnitude. We're addressing where that disconnect came in. I understand the frustration. I don't make an excuse, but we're moving towards trying to correct what has not been addressed for years. So at least under this administration, we're doing something to address the field. That's never happened. Unfortunately, for the parent group now who have students, depending on their grade, they may or may not benefit from that end product, right? But there's things that have to happen in order for us to continue to move the project forward. That had to happen because there's things, it's a domino effect, as we're trying to work through the township and other entities to get the permits, the licensing, all that we need. There's things that have to happen. I think in the state of transparency, we'll work on doing a better job of communicating where we are as we're moving through the process, what that timeline would look like, so that we can be proactive rather than reactive. I learned about this from the parents. I tried to address it immediately. I went to the field myself in person. It's something that I do take seriously because I understand the impact. If this one part of the field does not take, that's why I'm not waiting to see. I'm making calls right now where we can still be in a position of having a home field advantage, even if it's not on our home field, and still having concessions. But I'm just not there to give what that plan looks like at this point in time. But we'll have to have some meetings and put some communications together to be transparent, because I don't want it to be reactive or the level of frustration. So that's what we.
I'll just add, they had to drill field at some point, so they had to do wherever they're gonna put turf, wherever they're gonna put more track, wherever they're gonna put more concrete. They have to drill in those spots.
And that's why the practice field wasn't an option, because that's not where the turf is. So thank you for that clarity.
That's fine, but like, we had known this back, there's a lot of schools in this area that don't have their own fields. They lock up the fields that they rent months in advance, our schedule comes out months in advance. So if we knew they were going to drill, or if we didn't know the timeline, or if something, and it's hindsight, but it's like, we could have probably been a little more prepared to be prepared for this, especially for kids, and then they're like, well, we're gonna play on our home field. The seniors, it's gonna be our senior year, we're gonna get to play on our home field. How many seniors do we have now this year? Yeah, 26, so I think it's like
26.
okay. Approximately 26 seniors that may not be able to start on their home field. These are the same kids coming through the same issues the previous year, so it's like, how do you, what do we do? We have a very large parent group, a lot of connections. So had we been aware that the field did need to be drilled on, someone could have came through to say, okay, listen, we can go play at this field, we can have this concession stand. We could have been prepared. But we're already in the process of starting to buy our products for our concession stand. And it is one of the biggest fundraisers for our team is how we buy their senior jacket. That's very expensive for us to do, and we have to make sure that they get their senior jacket every single year. So I can assure you that we had known, we've done our due diligence to make sure, like, okay, listen, figure this out, we'll make it happen. But that sense of not knowing what's going to happen, I know mistakes happen, but it's a shame. It's a shame that the underclassmen, but more so for the seniors, have this hanging over their head, like, well, I don't know if everyone will play in this field this season or not. So I appreciate the comments, and I hope that going forward, at least for the track team, my son's also on the track team, they need to know, are they going to have a track this season, or are they not going to have a track this season? We need to go run a track at another school. There's some events we already forfeited from our track teams. We don't have certain things that other track teams have. It's very, I want to say this because most of our football team is predominantly minority. We play other schools where it's flipped in that aspect. We've had comments made, things that were not so nice to them, to the parents. And when they come here, they do not appreciate it. So they already have to deal with that. And then it's like, I feel like there's certain things you're not going to get past. You can't control other people, but what you can control is your home. You can control what goes on in your home. And to have things like this happen for them, it's disheartening. And they don't say much about it. The boys tend to, not complain, but it's something that they go through. It's conversations we have to have with them that we should not have to have with them to prepare for the season. And to add this on top of that, it's heavy. It's very heavy. My son was away when this happened. He was visiting his grandparents. I didn't want to tell him, because he would freak out. So I'll wait till he gets back. I forgot to tell him, and I was on the phone. He said, well, what happened with Phil? And I said, oh. So let me explain this, what happened with Phil. And he just said, you gotta be kidding me. So I appreciate everything. I appreciate everyone meeting about it, but I just want to put that out there because that's something that's actively going on with our boys and that we have to deal with as parents. So I just want to make that known.
And I'm not going to discredit any of that. I do. I agree with you 100%. This is not a conversation that we should be having at this point in time, period. That's on me. I have to own it. I have to work through it. I have to figure out options, and I have to be able to pivot. I'm gonna spend some time. I'm gonna go out there and meet the young man and have a conversation. I think that's warranted, and I think that's necessary. I know they're only a couple of days in right now, so I'm trying to at least let them get through conditioning. But there's gonna be some additional dialogue. So definitely apologies for what you guys are navigating. Again, I have to own that as superintendent, but it's in an effort to try to get us to a better place. And it's uncharted territory right now, I'll be quite honest. So we'll be more diligent, I think is a good word, and more fluid communication. If you would like to pull together a contingency, I don't need to meet with everybody, but a contingency of parents, as we put our communication together, once we have a better understanding of where we're going, I'm more than willing to do that as well. Well, I'm not the chair.
I do have a question. What is the,
I know exactly who you are, but just really quickly.
I'm Dana Kirkland. I'm a football mom, a Christian Kirkland. That's pretty rare.
And where do you reside in the town?
On West Side Drive. Yeah. So, my question was, what is the end goal? I know ultimately we plan to move to turf. Does that include replacing the track as well? Features?
From a 6-lane to an 8-lane.
Oh, good. Okay.
And all the bleachers, where concessions is, increased storage, fencing, the whole nine. So, yes,
And tentatively, what's that? Is that for hopefully next year?
hopefully, yes.
Okay.
And again, when we have that meeting, I think because you have those questions, that means we've not done a good job communicating with the plan, right? And I think that's part of what we need to do is present what that overarching plan is gonna look like. And not just for football, because multiple sports are gonna benefit from those upgrades.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Scriven.
Hi, I'm Novice Zell. I reside in Glenside. I have 5 kids two have graduated from the district, class 21, class 24, both football players. I have 2 football players on the team right now, a junior and a freshman, and a daughter in zero. My concern is the communication between facilities and the athletic program. So if this was just one-off situation to be like, oh, okay, but it seems to be happening a lot where facilities does something and the program has no idea. AD doesn't know what's going on, coach doesn't know what's going on. I'm asking questions and I'm getting crickets.
Quantify, be explicit.
I am.
I don't mind.
I'll be explicit.
Okay.
So with the field, right? So you didn't expect it to be as massive as it was, but was it communicated to the team or the AD or the coach that something was going to happen to the field? Was he in on the conversations about when you were doing it so that he could adjust his schedule? I mean, it seems like stuff, it was done and then it was like, oh yeah, you just got to figure it out. Where if he was in the conversations of, okay, this company is coming, this is why they're doing it, this is when we want to do it, and he could express his opinion of that's not the right time, whatever, and he can understand why it needed to be done when it needed to be done, instead of being surprised like everybody else that something was done and he didn't even know anything was supposed to be done. When the oops happened and it was of that magnitude, was that the first time that anybody knew that they cut the field that big? I mean, the day that they were there to do what they were supposed to do, you knew they were there. Did anybody go check? And when you found out that it was done, was it communicated right away? Or was it only communicated when the parents came and addressed them? The practice field last year. So we wanted to level and we argued about getting it level. It was closed off because it was unsafe, people getting hurt. Then one day it just got leveled, but it got leveled with the wrong material. So was anybody in the program a part of those conversations to make sure, because that is something that affects them and they know about, to make sure that it was done in a way that they was like, okay, that makes sense. Or you just doing it and then one day it's like, oh, okay, so they did it and they did it wrong, and you had to do it again, right? Another issue is, I know last year we had issues with our ice machine that was in the trainer's room. So we had to get ice machine from the cafeteria. Ice machine wasn't fixed. Then one day, now there is no ice machine in the training room. And I'm like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Well, they didn't know the ice machine was going to take away. It needed to be replaced, but now we don't have an ice machine. Then I was like, so when you get an ice machine? At that point, nobody knew anything. I was like, why don't you know as a parent? And I'm going to the people who are directly affected by these things and they have no idea what's going on. So it's like facilities does stuff and expect them to run around and figure out how to go around it instead of them being a part of the conversation and understanding, here's the schedule. Okay, here's how we're gonna work together so that things can move forward and in an organized and
So that's a great point. No, it is, and I'm glad that you brought all that to light. Let me say this to you. No, I'm very honest, and I own my stuff. You heard how I found out about the
Yes.
field.
But were you only, I mean, did no one know but,
No, other folks knew,
okay.
but that shows
Oh, yeah, that was the one listening.
what I'm addressing right now. And my people here are receiving what you're saying and receiving the fact that I have to own that. Don't think I'm happy about the fact that I have to own that. Part of what we will put in, which really should have happened last year, but with Dr. Hammond now being in an interim role and really wanting to give him that additional support to be successful, we'll start pushing in, whether it be weekly, bi-weekly meetings, what have you, with different entities from central office around the high school and the activities holistically to make sure that we can be proactive rather than a reactive state, especially as it comes to home games, where we're gonna have some of those larger crowds, et cetera, just being ahead of that. But no, you're spot on with some of what you brought to the attention. That will get better, rest assured. So, holistically, correct?
Absolutely.
Correct?
If I can add some clarity, so, they needed to drill the test pits on the field. It had to happen after graduation. So
After graduation, but
before football season. So it was always a very narrow window, not an ideal window to playing grass. The entity that did the testing is a sub, the civil engineer is a sub of the architect working on the project. So their communication to us about when they were coming out was poor and was received too late. I give credit to Tim's team for taking care of it quickly and taking that situation that's the best we can do to make the football field as close to home as possible.
I understand that, but when did you find out that they tore the field? It wasn't, was it, you found out before Dr. Sherman found out?
Oh, they probably found out after I got word that
After
they
you got
went
word.
in. They knew the timeline of when it was gonna happen, but they didn't know the magnitude
So
of what
nobody
happened.
looked at the field between the time they did it and the time we talked to you. Talked to the parents.
Other than videos that I received from parents. So that's a disconnect. And that's why I said your points are very valid. And I'm not gonna sit here and continue to pontificate over a breakdown,
Yeah.
really. I mean, and that's why I started off by extending that apology, because we shouldn't be sitting here having this conversation, period.
I have a son who's freshman playing football, so looking forward to this new field.
So am I. Believe me.
I wanna know if your daughter playing football.
Yeah, my daughter's running track, so she'll be
She's on the
looking forward to
track,
new
okay.
track. So y'all got me for another 8 years, so.
All good. Any more questions from the public?
You're right.
All right.
You're right.
More questions? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? So moves.